I got the call that I was going to move into a new area and be training. And it was an area where there already were sisters, so we were just going to come in and just, so then 2 sets of companionships were going to be working in the same area. And I went to the mission home to pick up my new companion, and we went through the whole day of all the training and the orientation. And then when we came back to the apartment, we dropped off the suitcases, and I didn't want her to unpack because I remembered when I first came to the mission, I wanted to go out and work as soon as I got there. And my companion thought, oh, you know, just take your time, unpack. When you're ready, we'll go. And I had wished I had just gone out and worked. So I thought, well, we'll drop the stuff off and then I'll just push her hard for the next couple hours. We didn't know the area at all. We didn't have a map either. There wasn't a map in the apartment. So it was just kind of, I was just walking around outside and just trying to get to know the area a little bit and talking, and I wanted to give her like a super good example of tracking people and just talking to people on the street and talking to everyone, because I wanted her to develop good habits. So we were just kind of walking everywhere, and I was trying to talk to every person that we passed. Usually I don't talk to every single person, but this time I was trying to, and we were coming to a street corner, and we saw this like little old lady kind of hobbling down the road, and she kind of looked at the sidewalk, and she kind of looked like she was busy and did not want to be talked to. But I thought, well, I just need to show her how to talk to someone. So I approached the lady with the first pamphlet of the restoration to just kind of explain to her and give her like a 5-minute overview of the first lesson, because that's one of the things you learn in Preach My Gospel. So I was trying to show how you do it, and the lady, she couldn't hear very well, but she was just like didn't want to listen and was trying to go somewhere, and you could tell she was kind of annoyed that I was trying to talk to her. But I kept talking to her. I don't know why, but I kept talking to her, and she wasn't interested, and I just was talking to her, and then she couldn't go anywhere because I was like, we were standing in front of her, and so we were talking, and she listened, and she told us that she already had a church, and I can't remember if we gave her the pamphlet then or not. I don't think so. But I was trying to ask her for her address so that later we could go by and do a better presentation. And she was like, no. It's one thing that's interesting about Argentina is old people are very nervous about letting anyone know where they live, because there's, even in the course of the time I was in my mission, people would take advantage of, especially female older ladies who lived alone. They would come in and like steal all their jewels or money, and sometimes even kill them. So they were just very nervous to like hide where they lived. So she obviously did not want to tell us, because we're strangers, where she lived. But we like stalked her. We like followed kind of back a ways to see where she went, and then wrote down where she lived. She like lived in this, they're like houses, but they were like houses that were one behind the other, and you had to go through a gate to get in. So we like saw her go through this gate, but we didn't know which house she went to. But we knew that in this area she lived, and I don't know, I just really wanted to teach her, and my companion just thought I was crazy because she clearly wasn't interested, and we stalked her to get her address, and But after we'd kind of been meeting people and getting to know the area a little bit, you have like an hour between studies and lunch, so there's not a lot of time, and usually the morning isn't a very good time to teach people. So when we were making plans in the mornings, I always wanted to go to this lady. Her name was Maria, and we'd always try to. So we went, and we were ringing the different, because there was like a speaker, so they could talk to you from inside their home to just see who's there to let people in, and we were just tapping the different ones to try to find which one was this lady, and we found her, but she couldn't really hear us, so she like came out and saw it was us, but we just talked to her, and I don't really remember what we talked about, but she didn't open the gates. We were never invited in, but we just chatted, and she wasn't really interested, but I think that's when we gave her the folleto, the pamphlet, and we told her we'd come back. And whether she was happy about that, I don't know. I don't remember. But anyways, so then we just started, like, when we didn't know what to do in the morning, we would just go by her house. And every time we'd only talk through the gate. She'd be on one side of the gate, and we'd be on the other side of the gate. And I remember one time we went, and she came out clutching the pamphlet, and she told us that she'd read the pamphlet and it was true. And we were just like, what? Just out of the pamphlet? And it was really, it was like, that was kind of like a heads up, like a green light that you can keep going. And so we just started having these regular visits to her house in the morning between the gate, because she still didn't feel comfortable letting us in. And she told us that she liked our church because it included all the churches. Because I think what she means to say, like, it had all the doctrinal bases, but the way she would phrase it was just that our church contained all the churches. So it must be the true one because it was all the churches. And we realized, okay, maybe we'll never get into the home, so maybe we just have to teach the lesson standing up in this kind of odd environment as the cars drive by. So we try to teach her lesson 3 with like the footsteps right there as we're trying to illustrate to her through the gate. And we'd have good conversations. They were always short just because she was just standing outside and just talking to us through the gate. But conference is coming up, so we thought, oh, we'll have to invite her to conference. Maybe she'll come and she never wanted to come to our church. Just because she liked staying in her home. If she was going to go to church, she was going to go to her other church that she already knew people from. I think she didn't like people or being around, because that just made her uncomfortable, I think. So we had a hard time getting her to go to church, and so she wasn't progressing. And we were getting worried that she just wasn't going to progress, and that maybe we needed to stop going and put our time somewhere else. And because they weren't ever really lessons, they were just us talking through the gate. So we decided, well, we'll make an invitation and we'll invite her to General Conference. It was going to be held at the Stake Center on the screen. She could just watch, and maybe she'd be interested in that. And then it would be at a later time, so she would feel more comfortable. Anyways, we decided to go one morning, and it just so happened that morning it was pouring rain. So we're walking and we're soaked, and my companion was like, because she was obviously new, should we even be out here? Should we just come back later? And I'm like, no, this is the only time we have. So we went, and through the pouring rain, she came out to the gate, and we just handed her the wet invitation and just asked her to please come. And on Saturday, on the second session, she came. So she came to General Conference, and she sat in the back, so we didn't see her till after we saw her come in, but So she didn't sit with us because she sat in the back and we were in the front. And we went up to talk to her afterwards, obviously, to see how it went. And she was just so amazed. She explained to us that she just, while she was listening, just this overwhelming feeling came to her, and just so strong. And it was just amazing the way she explained what she felt, because we hear often in the church, like, maybe how the Spirit feels, but for someone outside of the church who's never heard that terminology or is familiar with it, it was really cool to hear her explain it and us know what it was. Anyways, she knew from then on that this was the right church. And then after that, we were invited into her home. She would make us dinner. She would make us nice things. And she came to church every Sunday without fail. After that, she went to some baptisms with us. She just started actively pursuing, I guess, the course of learning the gospel. And it was really neat and really easy to teach her. It was one of the easiest investigators I had over the process. It wasn't like a struggle and a fight every day, but as it was with some investigators. But it was really neat to see how the Spirit would enlighten her mind as we taught her, just because she was older and had a harder time understanding and a hard time hearing, that as we taught, she would perceive and understand. And it was just amazing. You could just tell that she and her, even just learning about her life and understanding and getting to know her, you could just tell that they had been prepared for so long and just waiting for so long to hear the gospel. She told us that she was raised Catholic, but knew that it wasn't true, and had been looking and had started listening to the Jehovah's Witness, but never really cared to go to church or anything. Anyways, it was just amazing, and it was just a really neat experience teaching her the gospel. And it was just funny that, it was on my first day in the area with my companion, and me just trying to show how you track people, because, usually never on the people I just randomly accost on the street doesn't work. That it ends up turning into a good story that they're someone who's been waiting to hear the gospel. But that was one of the times where the person that I just took courage to go and try to say a little bit about the first lesson, and I stalked her too to get her address, but turned out to be someone who was just so prepared and so ready for most of her life to hear the gospel. And it was in her later years in life, but so I guess you just never know who the right people are and who are the people who are prepared. And so you don't give up, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the lesson is in that.